What if the Alaska Triangle and the Dark Pyramid are connected? The instruments flicker. A compass needle drifts slightly off course. Outside the cockpit window, Alaska stretches endlessly in every direction. Mountains, glaciers, forests, and wilderness few people will ever see. The pilot checks the controls. Everything appears normal. Yet stories have circulated through these remote skies for decades. Stories of missing aircraft, missing people, unexplained phenomena, and a question that continues to surface whenever the Alaska Triangle is discussed. Could there be something hidden beneath this vast landscape that links at least some of these reports together? October 16th, 1972, a small Cessna 310 lifts into the Alaskan sky. On board are US House Majority Leader Hale Boggs, Alaska Congressman Nick Begich, aide Russell Brown, and pilot Don Jonz. The flight should be routine. It never arrives. A massive search operation follows. Military aircraft are deployed. Civilian pilots join the effort. Thousands of square miles of wilderness are searched, yet no confirmed trace of the aircraft is ever recovered. The disappearance becomes one of Alaska's most enduring mysteries, and for some researchers, it is only the beginning. Over the years, other disappearances would become associated with what is now commonly called the Alaska Triangle. The region is generally described as stretching between Anchorage, Juneau, and Ukiyavik. Stories of missing aircraft, missing people, unusual sightings, and unexplained events have circulated throughout the area for decades. One case often discussed is that of Gary Frank Savage. Decades after his disappearance, reports state that a skull believed to belong to Gary Frank Savage was discovered near the Porcupine River. Cases like these helped fuel public fascination with the region. As interest grew, so did the search for explanations. Some pointed to Alaska's vast wilderness, severe weather, rugged terrain, and the simple reality that accidents can be difficult to investigate in such remote areas. Others looked in a different direction, towards reports of unusual phenomena. Some witnesses and researchers have discussed reports of compass irregularities, navigational anomalies, electronic interference, and other unusual experiences said to occur in parts of Alaska. And it is here that one of the most unusual stories enters the picture: the story of the Dark Pyramid. Much of the modern discussion surrounding the alleged structure can be traced to investigative journalist Linda Moulton Howe and her Earth Files reporting. According to Howe, retired US Army counterintelligence warrant officer Douglas Allen Muchler contacted her regarding an unusual story he claimed to have encountered years earlier. Muchler stated that in the early 1990s, he saw a television news report describing the discovery of a massive pyramid-shaped structure buried beneath Alaska. According to his account, the report suggested the structure had been identified underground and was unlike anything expected in the region. Years later, Mutual said the story remained with him because of how extraordinary it seemed. When Howe investigated the claims, additional accounts and details began to emerge. One frequently reported version of the story claims the top of the structure lies approximately 150 feet below the surface. The base, according to these reports, extends to around 700 feet underground. If accurate, that would make the structure roughly 550 feet tall. Some accounts place the alleged location near Mount Hayes. Others place it elsewhere within Alaska. The precise location varies depending on the source. As discussion continued, more claims became attached to the story. Some reports suggested unusual electromagnetic effects near the alleged site. Others discussed interference with electronic equipment or unexplained compass behavior. More extraordinary claims suggested the structure might somehow generate transmit, or influence large amounts of energy. Some researchers and supporters of the theory have suggested that these reported effects could potentially explain at least some of the unusual reports associated with the Alaska Triangle. In this interpretation, the disappearances, navigational anomalies, and electromagnetic reports may not be isolated mysteries. They may be connected. The story eventually spread through Earth-Files reports, radio discussions, podcasts, conference presentations, documentaries, television programs, and online communities dedicated to unexplained phenomena. Programs such as the Alaska Triangle helped introduce the story to an even wider audience. No publicly available archaeological excavation, geological survey, or government report has confirmed the existence of such a structure. Supporters of the story argue that the absence of public confirmation does not necessarily prove the claims are untrue. As a result, discussion surrounding the reported pyramid continues today. Perhaps that is why the story continues to endure. Not because everyone agrees on the explanation, but because the questions remain. A missing aircraft, unexplained disappearances, reports of unusual phenomena, and beneath it all, a claim that somewhere under Alaska's wilderness may lie a structure unlike anything ever discovered. Maybe the answer is geological, maybe it is environmental, maybe the stories have become intertwined over decades of retelling, or perhaps there is still something waiting to be understood, because after decades of discussion, one question still remains. If there is no pyramid beneath Alaska, why has this story endured for so long? And if there is something hidden beneath the wilderness, how would anyone know until it was finally found? For now, the mountains remain silent, and Alaska keeps its secrets.